The meeting is called to order at 7:32. I'd like to welcome everyone to the annual reorganization meeting of the Board of Education. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there a motion to accept the July 12th, 2023 organization meeting agenda? Motion by Mr. Scragg, seconded by Mrs. Lacara. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. I will now accept nominations for the office of President of the Board of Education for the 2023-2024 school year. Motion by Ms. Lacara.
I nominate Nick Giappetta.
Okay. Do I have a second? Ms. Bronson, Mr. Scragg, Mr. Biancasso. Any further nominations? All in favor? Okay. Congratulations, Mr. Giappetta. And at this time, I will administer the oath of office to Mr. Giappetta. I, Nicholas Giappetta,
I, Nicholas Giappetta,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of President of the Board of Education
of President of the Board of Education
of the South Huntington School District
of the South Huntington School District,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All right. You got to bang the gavel. Okay, moving on to the second item of business is the election of the Vice President of the Board. I'll take nominations. Mr. Bronson.
Linda Lacara, Vice President.
Okay, is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Meyer, Mr. Joyner, Mr. Scragg, and Mr. Biancasso. Is there any other nominations? Okay, all in favor of Ms. Lacara? Any opposed? All right, congratulations. All right, oath of office. Yep, raise your right hand. And I, say your name,
I, Linda Lacara,
do solemnly swear that I will
do solemnly swear that I will
support the Constitution of the United States
support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of
Vice President of the Board of Education
Vice President of the Board of Education
of the South Huntington School District
of the South Huntington School District
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. All right, we have a couple of other swearing in. We have our re-elected board members, Mr. Bronson and Mr. Joyner. Congratulations. Okay, we'll swear in Mr. Bronson first. And Ms. Lacara will swear in Mr. Joyner. I, Andrew Bronson,
I, Andrew Bronson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
member of the Board of Education
member of the Board of Education
of the South Huntington School District
of the South Huntington School District
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
Right.
All right, Mr. Joyner. Thank you. Yeah.
I
Sidney Joyner,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
Huntington School District
of the member of the Board of Education for the South Huntington School District
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
All right. Also want to welcome Mr. Michael Conway to our dais. Congratulations, our new Executive Director for Business. All right. We're going to continue with the rest of the reorganization agenda, which will go very quickly because there's 46 more items, but we will take one resolution to adopt items 4 through 50. Is there a motion? Mrs. Meyer, seconded by Mr. Bronson. Any questions on items 4 through 50? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. And those are our routine ones that we adopt each year. They changed in a couple of respects as a result of our reorganization of our cabinet. Okay, I will take then a motion. We are done with our reorganization agenda, so I'll take a motion to close the reorganization meeting. Is there a motion? Mr. Biangasso, seconded by Mr. Scragg. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. We're going to now go into our regular business agenda, and we're going to begin with some unfortunate news since we last met. Unfortunately, we have lost 2 members of our South Huntington family. If we can put that up there. There we go. First, Ms. Brittany Villar. It is with deep sadness that we share the passing of Brittany Villar. Brittany was a teacher at Birchwood for 8 years, and her Birchwood family had the following to share. Brittany was one of the kindest and most loving people that we ever encountered. She has made a lasting impact on all of us and will forever be a part of our Birchwood family. A celebration of her life will be held on Tuesday, August 8th, 2023, from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Lake Panamoka in Wading River. For further information, please contact our district clerk, Ms. Caliendo. Ms. Villar's family is in our thoughts, and we grieve her loss, and somebody who was taken way too soon. As with our next moment of silence for Diana Cinquemani, and I'll turn that over to Ms. Meyer for some thoughts.
Thank you, Mr. Ciapetta. It is with deep sadness that we share the passing of Diana Cinquemani Fritzi, who lost her hard-fought battle to rare ovarian cancer on June 20th. Born to be a teacher, Dee, as she was known to her friends and family, pursued her bachelor's and master's degree in education following her graduation from Walt Whitman High School. Returning to her South Huntington roots, Dee taught at Countrywood Primary Center for 9 years, a fixture in the very same community where she had been both a student and a teacher, living her passion, which was so palpable to her students, fellow teachers, and staff. Following her years at Countrywood, Diana embarked on a second career, starting her own successful business in Cold Spring Harbor, where she lived and worked for the last 11 years alongside her loving husband, Michael. Diana has been a friend to so many South Huntington staff, students, and alumni over the years, and her presence continued in South Huntington with her nieces and nephews who are students here. She could be seen attending Countrywood Halloween parades, holiday sing-alongs, talent shows, and moving up ceremonies. She will be most remembered for her positive energy, infectious laugh, infinite generosity, and her love of the beach and a perfect sunset. This evening, we're joined by Diana's loving husband, Michael Fritzi, her dad and stepmom, Diane and Dan Cinquemani, and we'd like to send our continued thoughts, prayers, love, and condolences. I'd like to personally thank our South Huntington community. As many of you know, Diana was my very best friend. And the outpouring of support from our community was clear, as dozens of current teachers, retired teachers, even retired principals who came all the way up from the Carolinas, staff, parents of her former students, board members, and many, many alumni attended her services. This is a true testament to the lasting impact that Diana had on our community. And it's a testament for how we show up for each other here in South Huntington, just as Dee did for everyone that knew her. As a way to honor her memory, I just ask that you all show a little extra kindness to those around you. Smile a little brighter and make sure that those around you know how much they matter, just as Diana always did.
Thank you, Ms. Meyer. I know how important she was to you and so many others. A wonderful person and a light that went out way too early. So if everyone will join me in a moment of silence to honor the lives of Diana and Brittany. Thank you. Okay, we'll go into our regular business agenda now. I'll take a motion to adopt the agenda. Mr. Bronson, seconded by Mr. Scragg. Any questions on the agenda? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, items C through F are minutes, financial items, and bids, excuse me, and warrants require one resolution for adoption. Is there a motion? Ms. LaCara, seconded by Ms. Meyer. Any questions on C through F? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, communications are listed. We have communications from the South Huntington School District to the members of the Huntington Town Council regarding opposition to the Stanhope Stables redevelopment project. And then we received communications in response, both from Councilman Dr. David Bernardo and Councilman Salvatore Ferro regarding Stanhope Stables, both of which expressed their opposition to the plan as currently formulated. Okay, we'll move into our new business items. We have a couple dozen of them. And the first is a revised board meeting date schedule for the 2023-2024 school year. Is there a motion? Mr. Bronson, seconded by Mr. Scragg and Mr. Biangasso. And this reorients some of our meetings next year, in particular meetings in June only. We had a meeting on June 12th, and instead we're going to replace that with a meeting on June 18th and add a meeting on June 5th, as past experience has shown us that that month is very busy for us in terms of interviews, and it's better to have 2 meetings on the calendar so we can get some of that business done. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Moving on to new business, item number 2 is a resolution to dedicate the Walt Whitman Art Gallery in honor of former Walt Whitman High School teacher Vicki Dolan. Is there a motion? Mr. Joyner, seconded by Mr. Bronson. Dr. D'Elia?
Yes, Vicki Dolan was a member of the South Huntington School District, where she was a teacher for about 14 years, and she started the craft fair over at the high school, very successful one. Her hard work and energy was the reason why that craft fair was very well attended, and she, without a ton of help, she was able to put it all together. And with a lot of money raised, $144,000, she donated to our art gallery that's currently in construction at Walt Whitman High School. And I would recommend to the board that through her hard work, energies, and efforts for our community, that we should name the art gallery in dedication to all her efforts. Thank you.
Dr. D'Elia. Board, have any questions, comments, thoughts? Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Obviously, it's been a labor of love. She began this back in 2001, and very dedicated, and it's finally going to be built. So, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Next, we have approval of an amendment to the bargaining agreement with the South Huntington Administrators Association. Is there a motion? Mr. Scragg, seconded by Mr. Biangasso. Mr. Smith, you're up for the first time tonight.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ciapetta. For the board's approval is this agreement with the South Huntington Administrative Association to establish the position of Supervisor of Administrative Services. This position will assist in supervising and coordinating grants, complete classroom observations, and manage capital projects as well as special events.
Okay, great, thank you. Any questions on this? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving on to item number 4 is the approval of an RFP for actuarial services for Pinnacle Actuarial Resources. Is there a motion? Mr. Joyner, seconded by Mr. Scragg. All right, Mr. Conway, get your sea legs.
Here we go. So for Pinnacle, this is the actuary that works with two components of our very closely with the external audit. One of them is a GASB regarding OPEC, the post-employment benefit calculations, as well as the workers' comp calculation. Both of those reports are done actuarially, and the data from those reports is used by our external auditors to incorporate the year-end audited financial statements.
And it's a new RFP, but they're the present vendor, correct?
That's correct. We've worked with them for approximately 10 years.
Okay. Satisfactory?
Yes.
Any questions on item 4? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving on to new business. Item number 5 is a contract with a consulting contract for a consultant. Motion. Mr. Bronson, seconded by Mr. Biangasso. Mr. Smith, over to you.
Thank you. For the board's approvals, this consultant agreement for operations and services support with Dr. Jim Wright. The scope and services include assisting the superintendent with special projects, transportation, and safety and security.
Great. All right. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Moving on to our second consulting agreement. This is with Smart Web Incorporated. Is there a motion? Ms. Meyer, seconded by Mr. Scragg. Dr. Murphy.
Yes, thank you. We have a couple of consultant agreements with our technology department. They help us with our infrastructure. They help us make sure that we're keeping our web and our systems in proper usage or in proper order, and that we don't have issues as we've had in the past.
So we've used Smart Web before.
Yes, we have.
Questions for Dr. Murphy? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving on to item number 7. That's our next consulting agreement for technology, and it's for an agreement with my favorite company, Whoopee Technologies. I always like to say that every year. Motion. Mr. Bronson, seconded by Ms. LaCara. Dr. Murphy.
Yes, he has been a consultant with us for quite some time. Same process as Smart Web. He helps us design and implement programs that allow us to keep our system safe.
Okay. Board, have any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Moving on to item 8 is the last of our consulting agreements. This is with consultant Patricia Wilkinson. Is there a motion? Mr. Biangasso, seconded by Mr. Scragg and Mr. Joyner. All right, Dr. Steele.
Yes, we are happy to have Trish Wilkinson come back with us again for another year, a former teacher here. She stayed with us for this past year as a consultant with our ELA program in the elementary level, and she has agreed to come back for an additional year.
Okay. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving on to item number 9 is the approval for a board trustee to attend the New York State School Board Association Annual Summer Conference. Is there a motion? Ms. LaCara, seconded by Mr. Scragg and Mr. Biangasso. This is the annual summer conference over at the Hilton. Always some good topics. This is I'm going to go as well, and this one is for Mr. Bronson. Anyone else that wants to go, feel free. Questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, they'll be discussing school safety, recent court decisions, proper executive session conduct, and collective bargaining. Okay, moving on to new business item number 10, the approval of a request to remain in South Huntington. Is there a motion? Ms. LaCara, seconded by Mr. Joyner. It's for a student, I guess a rising 7th grader, we'll say, who recently relocated to the Huntington School District. Anyone in favor of approving this request? All opposed? Okay. Resolution fails. Ms. Caliendo, if you can make sure a letter goes to the parents. All right, moving on to a series of out-of-district placements. We'll take them one at a time. New business item 11 is out-of-district placement for a student with the Center for Developmental Disabilities. Is there a motion? Ms. Meyer, seconded by Mr. Scragg. Discussed in exec session. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? There's a series of these, and I'm going to change the agenda on the advice of counsel. We'll be going through them individually. New business item number 12 is an out-of-district placement with the Brookville Center Children's Services for one student. Motion? Ms. LaCara, seconded by Mr. Scragg. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. New business item number 13 is also for the Brookville Center for Children's Services for one student. Motion? Mr. Biangasso, seconded by Mr. Joyner. Questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving on to new business item number 14. Once again, the Brookville Center for Children's Services. Motion. Mr. Bronson, seconded by Mr. Scragg. One student as well. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution carries. New business item 15 is the last approval for today with the Brookville Center for Children's Services. We need a motion. Ms. LaCara, seconded by Mr. Bronson. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Moving on to new business item number 16, approval of a contract between the South Huntington School District and a special education school named the United Cerebral Palsy Association of Greater Suffolk to send one student. Motion. Mr. Scragg, seconded by Mr. Joyner. Questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, moving on to new business item 17. First, approval for the Elijah School for one student. Motion. Ms. Meyer, second. Mr. Bronson. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. New business item 18. One additional student at the Elijah School. Motion. Mr. Biangasso, seconded by Mr. Scragg. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? New business 19. Another approval of out-of-district placement with the Elijah School. Is there a motion? Mr. Scragg, seconded by Mr. Joyner. Discussed in exec session. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. New business item number 20, also with the Elijah School. Is there a motion? Ms. LaCara, seconded by Mr. Scragg. Any questions on this one? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, now moving on to new business item number 21, also the Elijah School. Is there a motion? Mr. Joyner, seconded by Mr. Scragg. Okay. Ms. Fulton, since we have so many of them, what is the Elijah School? Dr. Fulton, sorry.
Thank you. It's a school that is available for students who have not had other state-approved placements. That's an outside provider, and typically for students with needs such as autism.
And these placements are recommended by the Committee on Special Education?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Any questions on items 21? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, moving on to item number 22, another out-of-district placement. This is for the Eden School for Autistic Children, the Genesis program. Is there a motion? Ms. Meyer, second. Mr. Scragg. And what is the Eden School?
Similar, it just has different programs available to students of different needs. So
Okay.
very similar to the Elijah School. It's another program. Sometimes they have more services available that the Elijah School can't offer.
Okay. And these placements are also recommended by the Committee on Special Education?
Yes, they were.
Thank you, Dr. Fulton. Any questions on item 22? All in favor? Any opposed? And moving on to item 23, our last placement for today, also with the Eden School for one student. Motion. Mr. Joyner, seconded by Mr. Scragg and Mr. Biangasso. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Moving on to item 24, we have various confidentiality and data security and privacy agreements all in one resolution. We have them with Bodal Learning, College Board, Close Gap, Lee, Renaissance, ThingLink, Wall Wisher, Wonder Workshop, and Extra Math. Interesting names. Resolution. Ms. Meyer, seconded by Mr. Bronson. Dr. Steele.
You did great, Mr. CFO.
Well, it was not easy.
Awesome. That was awesome. These are sites that we've used before. They range from grades kindergarten through 12th grade, ELA, math, bilingual sites, College Board site, and they're looking to renew their data privacy with us for another year.
Okay, great. Questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Moving on to new business item number 25. A lot of paper today. Approval of the 2023-2024 District School-Wide Safety Plan. Is there a motion? Mr. Bronson, seconded by Mr. Joyner. Mr. Smith, what can you tell us about this?
All right, thank you, Mr. Ciapetta. Each year, the state requires that all school districts review their district safety plan, which we have done. Probably the most notable change from last year's plan is requirement to include emergency remote instruction plans, which we hope to never use again, but that is something we are planning for. Additional plans include policies and procedures for responding to implied and direct threats and acts of violence, policies and procedures for contacting law enforcement and families, appropriate prevention and intervention strategies, and policies and procedures for school safety training, dissemination of information, conducting drills, and the use of security personnel. Once approved by the Board of Ed this evening, this will be posted on our district website for a 30-day public comment period. Any community member that has questions or comments can contact our district clerk. After that 30-day comment period, once again, this will be put before the board for approval at our next Board of Education meeting.
Okay, great. Is there a committee that works on this? Or?
There's a committee that works on
Okay.
this, which we did meet at the end of this school year
Okay.
to discuss, safety, security, and specifically this plan.
Great, thank you for your work as well as the committees. Board of questions? Yes, Mr. Joyner.
How many people on the board? The committee?
We're probably about 12 people on that committee. It ranges, some of them are community members, members of the board themselves. So it ranges from all different stakeholders within the district, so this way everybody has a voice.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Joyner. Mr. Smith, any other questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, new business item 26, approval of a cooperative with the LISNA, which is the Long Island School, find the rest of it, cooperative, no, where is it? Long Island School Nutrition Directors Association Cooperative. Motion. Ms. Bronson, seconded by Mr. Joyner. All right, Mr. Conway, tell us about this.
Thank you very much. So this is a resolution that's done every year. It primarily allows South Huntington to continue participation in the cooperative, which allows us to bid jointly with other public schools in Nassau and Suffolk counties on various food service commodities and supplies, basically to increase buying power and lower pricing.
Okay. The thought with more people participating, then the price will be lower?
Correct.
Questions for Mr. Conway? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, thank you, Mr. Conway. We have a motion now to participate in the school lunch program. Motion. Mr. Biangasso, seconded by Mr. Scragg. Mr. Conway again.
Okay, thank you. So this is again an annual thing where it's required the board to adopt this to allow continued participation in the National School Lunch Program, just in essence to allow us to continue to proceed with the school
Okay.
lunch.
Standard resolution we do
Yes.
each year at this time. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving on to new business. Item number 28 is the approval of the free and reduced income eligibility guidelines for school lunch. Is there a motion? Mr. Scragg, seconded by Mr. Joyner. Any questions on this? Yes, Mrs. Meyer.
Just a general knowledge question. I know when the state budget was up for consideration, there was talks again that they would bring back free school lunch for all students as there had been during COVID. Was that flat out, or is that still up for any type of consideration?
Great question. Dr. D'Elia?
Yes, we've currently submitted our application. The governor did put it in the state budget. It's not for all districts, that was once thought of, but we do feel that we meet the requirements. So I will be reporting back in August, hopefully with some very good news. So.
And now, would that replace the guidelines, so every student in the district would be eligible, or how would it work?
Yeah, all students, it would be free for all students.
Okay.
But we still need to collect this data because when we look at grants, sometimes you have to meet the requirements of your student population, the data that makes the requirements necessary for us to apply.
Great. Okay. Great question. Thank you, Ms. Meyer. Other questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Moving on to new business, item number 28 is the approval of attendance at a conference. Is there a motion? Ms. LaCara, seconded by Mr. Bronson. Dr. D'Elia,
Yes,
tell
this
us about
this is a big deal. The College Board, which is a national organization in charge of advanced placement exams, requested that South Huntington present at their annual conference in Seattle, Washington, specifically Dr. Murphy and Dr. Steele. Within this presentation, South Huntington will describe the work that is being accomplished as it relates to increasing the amount of underrepresented student populations within advanced level coursework, namely AP courses. To combat this, South Huntington has created programs and strategies designed to identify and support students early in their educational career. These strategies have allowed the district to increase students of color taking AP courses by 200 and 300%. This amazing work is something that the College Board wants to share, hopefully having other diverse districts learn from the efforts of South Huntington. This is a really nice accomplishment and nice press for the hard work we've been doing here in South Huntington. And this has been absolutely, of this administration and the board, a goal from the onset to increase the AP involvement of our students that meets what our diverse population is that should be represented in those AP courses. So the work is moving in a very positive direction. And I thank everybody for their efforts with that.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. D'Elia. Very important work, and something very much to be proud of. Questions, comments?
I'll just say that I'm extremely proud of this work. I think it's redefining ways that we can include more diverse populations in terms of AP placement, and I think it's a model for all districts to take a look at. So the work that's been done is tremendous, and I speak to community members about that and let them know about that progress. The work that has been done, and it shines quite a bit. So kudos again to that work, the work that you've done, and the entire district for this milestone that's been created for kids.
Thank you.
It's a game changer.
Yep. No, agreed, definitely. Not only the students taking the courses, they're doing very well in them, and so it's great. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving on to new business. Item number 30 is the approval of travel allowances for the South Huntington Administrators Association, various members. Motion. Mr. Joyner, seconded by Mr. Biangazzo. Mr. Smith, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chief. For the board's approval are 4 travel stipends for members of the South Huntington Administrative Association that travel between numerous buildings throughout the district daily.
Okay, great. We usually do this each year as well. Questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Moving on to new business. Item number 31, approval of middle management travel. Motion. Mr. Biangazzo, seconded by Mr. Bronson. Mr. Smith, to you again.
Similar to the earlier one, once again, we have 4 members of our middle management family that are travel consistently throughout the district using their own vehicles.
Okay.
So these are stipends to
Great.
support them.
That includes our supervisor facility, supervisor transportation, school lunch manager, and the administrative aide to the Board of Education.
That's correct.
Questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving on to new business. Item 32 is travel allowance for local 424 staff members. Motion. Ms. Meyer, second. Mr. Scragg. All right, Mr. Smith, one more time.
All right, once again, these are travel stipends for our lead mechanic and also our painter that once again use their own vehicles throughout the day, traveling to job sites and individual buildings.
Great. The painter's doing great work throughout the district too, so. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, new business item number 33 are many placements by the Committee on Special Education and the Committee on Preschool Special Education. I'm not going to read all the dates, but they're from February, March, April, May, June, of this year. Many, many pages. Questions on the placements? We'll discuss in exec session. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, and our last item of new business, I think we set a record. We surpassed last meeting's. Item 34, hiring of summer personnel, specifically for the July to August period. Motion? Mr. Scragg, seconded by Mr. Bronson. Dr. D'Elia?
Yes, this allows the ability, once again, to extend what we agreed to earlier this summer, back in June, to give me the opportunity to approve staff over the weekend, on weekend boards, so we can definitely allow for the smooth transition for our students in September.
Okay. Questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Moving on to personnel, we have personnel schedules 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, and 22. Motion. Mr. Bronson, seconded by Ms. LaCaren. Any questions on the personnel schedules? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, these personnel schedules cover probationary teacher appointments, they cover summer personnel, teacher mentors, curriculum writing, many summer employment, extracurricular and coaching, as well as some administrative and supervisory appointments. And two of note that I'd like to mention. The first one is Mr. Kenneth Costa, who has been hired as the supervisor for administrative services for the JKO building where he'll report, but that's a district-wide position. It's a new position that has many, many new responsibilities, and we look forward to Mr. Costa's help in those various areas. And then the second appointment is Michelle Kretz to Walt Whitman High School's Chair of Special Education, that vacant position. I believe Ms. Kretz is with us tonight. Congratulations. Michelle comes very highly recommended from Elwood School District, where she spent many years, and prior to that had a career in the private sector, and we know she's going to do great work for us. Like to say anything, or?
Just thank you for the opportunity to work here. I'm excited to get to know everybody, and I'm looking forward to a great year.
Great. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, so he's on there. Yeah. And we have one other position to announce. We have a new auditor position that we have just hired, which is somewhat of a backfill for Mr. Conway's position. Different title, but he'll effectively be the number 2 in the business office. Mr. Conway, you'd like to make an introduction?
Steve is right here, and he's happy to join us.
That was quick.
You're a numbers guy, very short and to the point, right? So good.
Both of them.
Steve, I think Mr. Conway was concerned about doing your last name in front of you.
I'm not even attempting.
Oh, it's like Oshio's.
Yeah, I saw it on here, and I'm like, wow, I'm not pronouncing that. So that is a tough name. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Great district. Okay. Where were you previously at?
Valley Street.
Okay, excellent. Congratulations. Information reports are listed. It's a good one. It's a article from the American School Board Association recognizing South Huntington School District for their Silva Magna Award for Virtual Advanced Preparation Program, which is also part of that presentation that we just talked about in Seattle, Washington. And this was received by the school district at the past national conference in Orlando, Florida. We have Facilities Committee minutes from 5/24. We'll go over them briefly. We had an extensive meeting where we had 15 different topics. We got through all of them. We also have an upcoming meeting on Monday. Just to go over them quickly, Dr. Bernardo Park is completed, and there was a press release put out. It is now open for business, and people can come enjoy the pavilion as well as the bocce courts. That's complete. We've also completed, or are in the process of substantial completion regarding lactation rooms throughout the district. We were really on the ball on this and well in advance. And so we have now private and comfortable space for our nursing mothers throughout our district and all the buildings. Walton High School Fitness Center, it's not in construction yet, but we expect during the fall it will be constructed, and this will be a beautiful new space. We also discussed a robotics room. Walton High School North Gym floor, we're looking to resurface that, as well as some issues that we have in the North and South gyms with our windows, which cause heat in those buildings. The window mechanisms are not opening and closing, so they're largely closed, which makes it very hot in there. So the committee is discussing what options we have for there, as well as some potential future projects, tennis court resurfacing, replacement at Walton High School at Stimson, and perhaps a little refresher on the Walton High School Performing Arts lobby, but those are just in the discussion stages. And at our facilities meeting on Monday, we'll be discussing the project of current work throughout the district, most notable of which you've probably seen is the construction of the solar arrays at nearly all of our buildings except Maplewood. Sorry, Maplewood, you don't have any sun there, so no solar arrays.
It shines inside.
Yeah. Too many trees. And that's it. Ms. LaCara, did you have anything on curriculum or?
The minutes are there, do you want me to?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, we discussed a new book for the Stimson Middle School in our diverse collections units. Its name is Shooting Cabal, which talks about an Afghani family and their experience after September 11th, 2001. We also discussed the implementation of a new Italian textbook, which will provide more uniformity between the middle school and the high school in Italian.
Okay.
We also discussed the summer learning program, encompassing the different programs and the number of students that would be serviced. And we also talked about the newly developed STEAM curriculum, which highlighted areas of STEAM and digital literacy and which grades each component of the two topics would be taught. And one of the most important things we did to end the year was we discussed the school building site-based management notes and topics to confirm that all buildings are following the procedures set forth by the New York State. And any items that were found as not being followed were explained and discussed by the Office of Curriculum and Instruction with each of the school buildings. And they're working with the buildings to follow the established procedures, with some areas that will be improved for next school year.
Thank you, Ms. LaCara. And, great committee, things going well. Thank you. Good work this year.
Thank you.
Okay, future meetings are listed. We have one more summer business meeting on August 16th, then our first meeting of the new academic year, September 6th and September 20th. Comments by board members? Okay, comments by the superintendent, Dr. D'Elia.
Yes, real briefly, just some thank yous to go out. First of all, this is our first meeting since high school graduation, and I would like to thank the high school team, building and grounds, our custodians, administration. It went off very well, and I can tell you that was the decision I sweat the most on, was that Friday when we, in this circular pattern where if I had hair to lose, I would have lost it that day. But fortunately, the sun was out on Sunday, and I know the rumblings were coming in towards the end, but we had a wonderful, wonderful ceremony, and just thank everybody involved, because that's what our community deserves. And, you know, I know we have the backup of going into the North Gym, but it's limited. There are 2 tickets, basically, per family, and, you know, I know many districts on that Friday didn't have rain dates and made decisions to just go right to indoor graduation. And if you recall that night, there really wasn't any rain that night. It wasn't looking good at 3 o'clock, and usually you have to make those decisions 6 hours in advance. But we were fortunate. We were one of the few in the Huntington Township that had our graduation outdoors. And I can tell you right now, which surprised me, I didn't get any negative emails from that Friday decision to go to Sunday. So I just counted and prayed on Mother Nature, and she came through. So a lot of thank yous to go out there. Also, I'd like to thank everybody involved with the summer camps. They are rocking and rolling. There is no doubt. So, David Barth with the Wildcat Sports Camp and all of your staff, they're doing an unbelievable job. Jackie Petito and Janine D'Elia doing an unbelievable job with Cody and cooking and baking this year. Was the first year it came in. I can tell you we've had many, many hours of shopping at Costco and BJ's, a lot of family time. But it's going off extremely, extremely well. And those courses were the cooking courses were sold out pretty quickly when they went up. So, and also Mr. Keith Goldman for the science camp, doing a wonderful job. The kids are very happy, and going there numerous times, you can see how busy the high school is and how up and alive everything is. So we are absolutely 110% back with everything. So thank you to all of you to making these experiences for our community such a fun and appealing place to go, and a great and a very cost-effective camp at the very least. So we have it all going here in South Huntington. That high school is jumping. Never sleeps, for sure. So,
Great.
all good. And Mr. Miranda, you're part of the group too there helping out, so thank you. Oh, and I also have to thank one more group, Huntington Manor Fire Department. They are there for their Fire Truck Fridays, and the kids absolutely, I've attended both of them that have happened so far. They happen every Friday at 2:30, and holy cow, it is awesome. So we thank them, Mike Pistori and the group there for helping us out. The highlight of the week, I would say.
Great.
For most. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. Yeah, been well received. Obviously, it's been very hot. So, and I'd also like to congratulate and thank Dr. D'Elia. I don't know if we mentioned at the last meeting, but we had our first ever 8th grade moving up ceremony in South Huntington, and this was an initiative that Dr. D'Elia brought in, and you never know how something's going to go in the first year, and it went really tremendous. It was held in the North Gym. It was packed. You know, you would think it was a regular graduation ceremony, so it was filled. A lot of teachers there and staff, and it went really very well. It was a nice ceremony, and a lot of good students there. And, I don't know if they're getting taller. They seem very tall, the 8th graders. But
I also want to thank Mr. Duggan and his team. They've had a lot of meetings to make that happen. So thank you to all of your people at Stimson there, because Mrs. Ciapetta is absolutely right. It went off very well.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. Okay. Voice of the residents? I don't know if we have any. Okay. Any other board comments? All right. With that, we will take a motion to adjourn to go into executive session to discuss matters of personnel, specifically to conduct employee interviews. We do expect that we will return to public to make some additional appointments. So sometimes in exec session, we just close it from there. We don't come back in public, but we do expect to go live again in the next hour or so. So thank you all. Take a motion to go into executive session. Ms. Meyer, seconded by Mr. Joyner, Mr. Scragg, Mr. Biancasso, and Mr. Joyner. All in favor? Any opposed? Right. Okay, we're going to take a motion to close exec session and go back into public. Is there a motion to close the exec session? Ms. Meyer, seconded by Ms. LaCara and Mr. Bronson. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Now I will take a motion to make an amendment to Schedule 3 of the personnel schedules, the administrative supervisory appointments. Is there a motion to amend? Mr. Scragg, seconded by Mr. Biangasso. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Now we're going to vote on the amended schedule. So all in favor of the amended Schedule 3? Motion first, Ms. LaCara, seconded by Mr. Bronson. And all in favor of the amended schedule? Any opposed? All right, so 2 additional appointments. So as we mentioned before we left, Mr. Costa has been appointed Supervisor for Administrative Services, leaving a vacancy at Waldman High School. And the board has just voted to appoint Mr. John Murphy, Dr. John Murphy, as the interim principal of Walt Whitman High School. What does that mean? I think congratulations in order. So first, we need to thank Dr. Murphy for willing to do this because he is doing 2 positions at once, or really 3, because he's assistant superintendent for curriculum, he's deputy superintendent, and now he'll be interim principal. So first, thank you for volunteering to do this and willing to put in this time. Why are we doing it? A couple of explanations. Obviously, it's late in the year that this happened, and it's difficult with the candidacy pool. Second, there's really no better person that we could put in than the person who is already there. So how will it look? He'll be the interim, and sometime in the fall, early winter months, we will post for the position, and then we'll go through the interview process, and we have the luxury of taking our time in that process because obviously we have a great person running the building, and the goal is to get an equally great person and to make sure that we're exceptional at that building, and whether it has to be 1 posting or 2 to get a perfect person to be there, and that's our goal. And whatever timeline that happens at, we have the luxury of time by Dr. Murphy volunteering for this position. So that's kind of an update on it. We know the high school is in good hands, and we're going to have a great year. So thank you once again. Second appointment we had, as we talked about last time, we appointed Mr. Dimitri Bernadelle as Birchwood principal, leaving an opening for assistant principal, and we've filled that now with a very, very capable star in Renee Shum. Renee is a district resident, has been a longtime teacher here, and has shown herself to be dedicated to our district, and also dedicated and patient in going through the process to be an administrator. And she had come to the board once before, and it didn't work out, but didn't take that as a disappointment, took it as a learning opportunity, and came back and went through this process and just did a phenomenal job, and really showed the fact that she's so well-rounded and has a great vision for what that building can be. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Would you like to say something?
An absolute honor and privilege, and thank you again for your time tonight. I'm so excited to be working side with Dimitri and continue with Birchwood's great vision and mission, and to make it even better than it is. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Congratulations. Okay, our night is not over. We have more business to do, so I will take a motion to go into our 3rd executive session to discuss matters of personnel. Mr. Scragg, seconded by Mr. Biangasso and Mr. Bronson. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, thank you.